Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then. The Premier League season is back, 24-25. Premier League season starts on Friday. First game, Manchester United taking on Fulham at Old Trafford to open the Premier League. The newly promoted sides, what can we expect from them this season? Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich. How will all sides get on? Let me know in the comments where you think all teams are going to finish ahead of this one. We're going to be joined by Saints fan, Football Martin, of course, a good friend of mine. We're going to do the predictions weekly together. And yeah, welcome to week one of the Premier League predictions. Guys, as always, get your predictions in when we go through each game. We're going to chat about each game. And yeah, hit the like button. If you could subscribe as well, that would be fantastic. If you're new to the channel and you're around here, then we'll do a bit of everything. Premier League predictions, Leicester City content, football content in general. So yeah, if you're all up for that, then yeah, get involved each show we do. Let's use in the comments first then. Callum, how are you, my friend? Jack, are you doing the match day vlogs in the Premier League for week 1 to 38 and including the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup? Yes, I am. Good evening, Mick. How are you, my friend? Hope you're good. Dave, hopefully you have a bit more of a better predictions this season, Dave. Didn't really go too well with it, did it, last time when you predicted the championship ones? Yeah, you're on time this time, Dave, which is a massive thing for me, which is good. So, yeah, good to see you're on time and ready to get started. Renee, how are you? Hi, Jack, the return of the 24-25 season. Yes, another roller coaster season following Leicester City. When are your predictions for the predictions table? I haven't really got round to doing one, to be fair, maybe I will kind of talk with Martin about where he thinks teams are going to finish. We'll get his top 6 predictions. We'll also get his relegation predictions as well. But yeah, let's crack on and let's get Martin in. Martin, how are you, mate?
Jack, my friend, it's great to see you.
Very good. Martin, let everybody know what you do then. Obviously, we all seen you on the overlap during the week. Let everybody know what you do regarding the Football Martin YouTube channel and where can everyone find you, Martin?
Yeah, I'm on quite the journey, Jack, to be honest. I started coming on your show, I think probably early September time last year, and the last year's been incredible. I started off as a TikToker creating TikTok content around Southampton. That's ended up being on YouTube, and it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, it's just I'm on quite a journey at the moment. So make sure you check me out. Please subscribe to my channel at Football Martin on YouTube. Same on TikTok. YouTube content's going to be good this year. I create a lot of fan cam content. So I'll be going around the grounds, home and away, and I want to get the feeling around your fan base at your football clubs. So it's not just Southampton. I want to know what's happening at Leicester, Newcastle, Man United, all over the country. So get involved and give me a follow, and make sure you drop me a line if I'm at a game that you're going to be at.
Evening, Paul. So, Martin, we sit here as Premier League clubs this time round. Obviously, last time we spoke, we were Championship clubs. I mean, what's it been like at Southampton in the transfer window and that, Martin? And what are your expectations for the Saints as they go marching into the Premier League?
Mate, it's a really good question, actually. What are your expectations? Do you know what? I don't really know how it's going to pan out to the end of this window. Look, I'm really happy with the business we've done so far. I think the signings we've made have been good. Have we got enough in the door? We're not quite ready, Jack. We're not quite ready. And that's probably the biggest concern at the moment. We're a little bit lightweight in the final third. We lost Adams. Brooks went back to Bournemouth after his loan. We're a little bit lightweight. Lost Dewey Armstrong. Shea Adams went to Italy. So yeah, look, we're just a little bit short on bodies in that final third. Ryan Fraser didn't come back from Newcastle. We brought Brereton Diaz in. We Flynn Downs, permanent, brilliant bit of business. Also got Taylor Arbor-Bellis in the door. We've done a bit of business at the back, loads of defenders brought in. But I think further up the field is where we're going to need some real help, because we've got harder to beat, but where the goal's coming from, how do we hurt teams? That will be the key now for the manager. And I think it's a big couple of weeks for the football club in terms of the transfer window. But I'm really excited for the Premier League. Really, really excited for it. Absolutely buzzing for it.
Yeah, I'm buzzing for the Premier League. It's good to be back, competing against the big sides and that, it is. It's going to be a real challenge for Leicester, though, isn't it, Martin, this season? The points deduction thing, we don't know what's happening there. That could go into next year. So we might not hear anything with Leicester regarding till the second half of the season. Leicester regarding transfer business, I mean, we've brought 5 in, Fatawu, Akoli. We've brought in Michael Golding. We've brought in Deco Dover-Reed. We've brought in Finote from Brighton and Hove Albion. So Leicester have strengthened, of course, but not where we thought we need to, Martin. I mean, Leicester are really short in attackers. You know what I mean? Obviously, Vardy, Daka will miss the opening game against Tottenham. Leicester are really light. They've got one striker in Tom Cannon who's only fit going into the opening game of the season. We needed attackers. We've been linked with everybody this window, from the likes of Tammy Abraham, Steven Bergwijn, Wilfried Zaha, Adam Slurczek from Bayern Leverkusen. Leicester are in talks with the likes of Bayern Leverkusen, for Adam Slurczek, he is a centre forward. He can play also behind the striker. Obviously, we are being linked with the guy from Panathinaikos as well. So Leicester and Steve Cooper, they want to get numbers through the door. They have to. And obviously, you've got till 12, is it 12 tomorrow to register them so they can play on Monday. But yeah, it's a bit of one of them with Leicester. It's gone really quiet, Martin, and, we'd have hoped to bring in these sort of players before the Tottenham game. But obviously, we've only got, 2 weeks today till the transfer window ends. And, we're a bit lightweight, to be honest. And if you're honest, being a Leicester fan at the minute, you'd say that team's not Premier League ready at all.
Yeah, it's a very similar vibe here, actually, Jack. I pretty much echo it, pretty much everything you say. I think Leicester probably in a similar position to Southampton in terms of where they are right now in terms of strengthening, really, like final third. It's all about final third. It does that really worries me at the moment, is where the goals come and how we're going to hurt teams, because goals are massive, aren't they, in the Premier League? The chances are few and far to come by. It'd be interesting to see how the 3 promoted teams do this time round compared to the 3 last year. I just hope we don't do a Sheffield United. I don't think we will do. I think the difference for us, we have a manager that's relishing the opportunity. I'm quite excited to see what his style of play does in the Premier League. I'm excited to see what Steve Cooper does at Leicester, actually, as well. I think it was a quite good appointment, actually. I think it was a good decision. I don't know how it went down in Leicester, but from the outside looking in, I thought, do you know what? Experienced Premier League manager, Premier League club. They were very much of the feeling at the overlap the other day that will be the difference for them, the manager, and that the fact that they've played in the Premier League before and they see themselves as a Premier League club. Still a few Premier League players in there. They feel that would be the difference for Leicester and keep them in the division.
Yeah, Leicester have got some Premier League quality, haven't they? Ricardo, Wilfred Ndidi, Harry Winks, Jamie Vardy, James Justin, Yannick Vestergaard, Fass is in there, who's played in the Premier League. Then you look at the numbers, Martin, again, who will be there like first season, innit? Like Mavididi, Fatawu, Matt Hermanson, another one, Caleb Akoli, and players like that who, have got to. I think with Fatawu and Mavididi, it's about proving themselves this season that they can go compete at the highest level. Obviously, it's not going to be easy, of course, with different opponents than what we faced last season. But then you look at Ipswich, Martin, the newly promoted side. They're buying the right players. They've brought in Jacob Greaves, haven't they? I think they brought in Liam Delap as well. Calvin Phillips, another one who they've really looked to strengthen in that midfield. Ipswich have strengthened in all the departments they needed to, Anthony Martin, to make sure, they're in their fight of staying up this season.
Yeah, I was surprised by the Calvin Phillips on it. I did a TikTok live at 6:00 tonight on my channel, and pretty much everybody was coming on asking him what were my thoughts on Calvin Phillips going to Ipswich. And you know what, good bit of business. He's got a lot to prove now, though. I think they think they've got a great player there, which they probably have, but his attitude needs to be right. He needs to get physically and mentally right as well. It's a team that's got promoted. They're making a lot of changes, a lot of bodies coming in the door. Do you know, the one thing I like about Southampton and Leicester, though they've maybe not brought in as many players, I think they've got the nucleuses of last season, and it's very difficult to go and make an overhaul, massive changes, overhauling your squad and not having the same bodies around, because the people that got you there in the first place are worth their weight in gold, in my opinion. You just need to build around that and just add nice additions. And that could be the difference for me. I think it's a big change. You look what happened at Burnley last season. They had a massive turnover of players in the summer, and it just didn't work out. There's a lot of comparisons with Southampton and Burnley. I disagree. I think it's very hard. Maybe the style of play, but in terms of the bodies in the door and the business that's been done, we've kept the nucleus together. People who are on loan have been signed, and that's the difference. So, a lot of people writing Leicester and Southampton off very quickly and being very much, Ipswich will smash it. I think a lot of changes. His first managerial appointment in the division, I don't think it will be easy for either of us, but I think it will be certainly tough for them.
Leicester are one of them sides where you can write us off, and we like to prove a lot of people wrong. We looked at people thought we'd go down in the Premier League in 2014-15 when we were down the bottom of the table with like 9 games to go, and then we ended up beating West Ham. I'm sorry, Paul, if he's still in the chat. It turned around massively, and they ended up doing the Great Escape, which maybe that could be a thing for Leicester this season again, where people write us off and then we come back and we stay up somehow. And obviously, it's points deduction thing. You have to take it into context because you don't know what's going to be happening, how many points or whatever the charges are and that. So that's better left to the lawyers and that than us talking about it. But Martin, I'm going to ask you a question. I've not done the Premier League table yet. I don't think I will, to be honest, because of the timing and that of it, with the Premier League just starting tomorrow. But talk to me about your top 6. Who have you got for top 6 this season?
I'm going to go with, I think City will win it again. I've got a feeling it'll probably be Pep Guardiola's last year at City. I think with the points deduction coming potentially, and that will probably get resolved within the next 12 months. I think it's maybe time up for him now. I think he's got a little bit boring, but I think they're going to win it. I think Arsenal will come very, very close. I think Spurs make the top 4. I like Postecoglou. I like the style he plays. I don't know how. Probably Liverpool. I think it's hard to look beyond Liverpool. They're always thereabouts. I think Liverpool. Be interesting to see what Slot does there. It's a big change, different manager, different philosophy potentially. I still think they make the top 4. Then outside of that, my dark horses, I think Paul's in the chat, and I'm not saying it because he's in it. I was with some fans at the weekend. I think West Ham are be right up there this season. They've made a really good appointment with the manager, and I just think they'll be pushing it. I'm not sure about United at this moment in stage whether they can get top 4, but I think West Ham will be right in amongst it. I have to say United because of the size of the club and who they are. But that will be my top 6. But outright winners to be Man City. The relegation prediction, I'm not looking forward to that bit so much.
Can we miss that question?
Give that a miss.
I don't want to upset people. No, I think Man City will win the league for me. I think Arsenal will run Man City close as they did last season. I think Liverpool, Man United, I think West Ham will be pushing in there as well. Spurs, I mean, it depends how many more bodies they bring through the door. I know they brought in Dominic Solanke for a big price from Bournemouth. I tell you what, I'll go for Spurs and I'll go for Villa to finish around about 7th for me. I think Chelsea, you don't know really what you're going to get with Chelsea with Enzo Maresca's first season. I mean, Chelsea fans at the minute are a bit berate, aren't they, with this Maresca style of football? And yeah, they're not really enjoyed it in pre-season, so are they going to enjoy it in the Premier League? Love your content. Which one are we talking to, Jack? Brentford and Brighton will be down there. Yeah, talk to me about the bottom half of the table, Martin. I mean, who are you expecting to be down there? Obviously, there'll be likes of, I think Brentford haven't really done much have they in the transfer window. We look at the teams like Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, Everton again, and teams like that. Who do you expect to be down there?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it. Really, I think Nottingham Forest have flirted with that bottom three for a while now. Still not convinced by Nuno. I'm not a massive fan of Nuno's. I'll be totally honest with you. I think they're in for a tough season under him. I like him as a club, but I'm not sure about him as a manager. A massive game for us, second game against Forest actually at home. Hopefully we can beat them. But yeah, I think Forest to be right in the mix. Everton, they lose Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which it looks like they potentially could do this summer. Dyche won't rule it out. If they lose him, I think he'd be a massive, massive blow to them. Like you said, they haven't done masses of business. At Brentford, didn't have the greatest of season last season, did they? They lost Ivan Toney, which they probably will do before the window ends. He'd go. It could be a massive blow for them as well. Then you got the promoted sides that are going to be right in the mix, and then you never know. Man City could end up with a massive points deduction. Who knows? You just never know, dear. Not saying they're going to get relegated, but they could end up with a massive points deduction. We don't know how many points they could get deducted. You know, wouldn't it be lovely if they got relegated? And they make a real example of them as a football club because they've clearly broken the rules. But yeah, we will see how it unravels. I think you've nailed it. I think Palace will be good this season. I think they're really good at back end of last season. Bournemouth, bearing in mind they've lost Dominic Solanke, who was massive for them, scored a lot of goals, had a really good season. He's going to have to hit. Obviously, they're going to bring bodies in, but they were quite reliant on him for goals. Won him a lot of games. So I wonder how it would go down Bournemouth this year. Be interested to see. No one talks about them as being a side that are being mixed. Had a very good year last year, but backing it up again this year will be very interesting. And I honestly don't think Maresca will do anything at Chelsea. I really don't. I think he if I was going to have any bet right now, I think he'd be gone by November.
Interesting. Looking at Crystal Palace, I mean, Gueye, Eze, two players that have been linked to other clubs. Obviously, Gueye, Newcastle. I think Eze's been linked with Manchester City. If they lose them types of players, then it's like not much time to bring players in and finding the right players. Crystal Palace, if they can keep them types of players, I think they could push for top 10, to be honest. But if they lose them types of players, then it could be where they started in the first half of the season. But last season, they really started to push on Crystal Palace, and they did quite well to finish quite highly in where they did. Brighton, Rutter coming from Leeds, that could be a good signing for Brighton. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one, to be fair. Fulham, I don't know with Fulham. Fulham's they've signed Emile Smith-Rowe, haven't they, from Arsenal, which I think is a fantastic signing for them. How are you both thinking your teams will finish this season? Martin, can we agree on 17th?
Yeah, I'd take 17th right now. If you offer me 17th, I'd take it. For me, I just want to stay in the division. At this moment in time, we probably going to need a few extra bodies in the door to give us that opportunity, make the right signings, and we'll have a hell of a chance. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm the same with Leicester, Martin, to be honest. If we can get quite a number of players through the door in these next 2 weeks, then fantastic. We've got more chance of staying up. But if the team stays as it is now, it's kind of going to struggle a bit, innit, But Leicester are one of them. You never overlook Leicester. They can do quite a bit of stuff regarding staying up and that. And, we've seen it before, but yeah, the Premier League's changed quite drastically, hasn't it, Martin? You look at last season, Sheffield United really struggled, didn't they? Conceded the most goals, I think, in Premier League history now in a single season. I think they kept one clean sheet. You look at Burnley, Luton. I think Luton was probably the better team out of the three to go down, to be honest. They gave it a real good go, real attacking football by Rob Edwards. But yeah, they just ended up falling short in the end, and Forest ended up doing better in staying up and that. But I think this time round, it's going to be an all different kettle of fish in it, Martin, regarding the Prem and who does stay up at the end of the season.
I think since we were both in it as clubs, you could see how difficult it was last season. It's ruthless. I think just to go to a Newcastle, still a Man United, still a hard place to go, and Arsenal, City, they're big dominant clubs. Liverpool, it's so competitive. And then since we've dropped out, you see Villa. You look at what Villa have done under Emery. It totally transformed the club. They're a top 4, top 5 club. I didn't even include them in my top 6 because I think the European football caused some issues and it would stretch them a little bit more. But they're massively improved. Wolves have got better. They seem to. He's done a good job there, Gary O'Neill. Bournemouth are improved and they're spending big money on players. They're getting big money in. I think when you stay in it and you're established, you can really kick on. It is a really, really tough division. Whether it be as competitive this year, it'd be interesting to see. I think players, it was spoke about last week on the show I was on, was the burnout of players, the amount of football they've all played, and any international footballer, it's probably a 3 weeks off if you went deep into the Euros. So I think a lot. Will it affect the quality? I think it probably will. There's no doubt about it. You look at players in the Euros, people that really laboured at the back end of it, and I know they get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, but we're all human. They're all human beings like you and me. And if you push your body to the absolute limits, you will get fatigued. And there's no doubt there's some fatigued footballers, and it'd just be interesting to see what the standard of the Premier League's like this year. And playing that amount of games again, plus European football and all your international, it's super tough.
Swapping us over. That's a start. Fantastic. Martin, do you want to be host? Thanks, StreamYard. Martin, let's get on to the Premier League predictions then. It is game week 1. The opening game is Manchester United versus Fulham. Both sides strengthened. I think Man United, looking at Man United's transfers, they've brought in Zerki from Bologna, Matthias De Ligt, Euro, and they've also brought in Mazraoui as well. Man United have strengthened where they needed to, and I think defence was key for Man United's strengthen this season if they want to stand a chance of getting in Europe and that. I think that's where Man United have lacked. They need to keep the door shut in conceding the goals that they was last season. They take on a Fulham side who done okay in the transfer window, bringing in Emile Smith-Rowe, which is a very good asset for them. But how do you see it going at Old Trafford, Martin? What's your score for this one?
Bit of a mixed bag in pre-season for them, hasn't it? For Man United. I still think there's massive question marks over the goalkeeper. I'm not convinced by the goalkeeper at all. Every time I watch him, he makes me nervous. Big season for Rashford. They say it every year, but he really needs to pull his socks up, doesn't he? Really kick on as a player and force his way back into that England squad. But yeah, I like Mainu. I was impressed with him at the European Championships for England. I think he's an outstanding young talent. I think he's under big pressure, Ten Hag. I know that obviously he's had the contract extension, but he will be under massive pressure. And the minute it starts to go wrong, they will jump on his back. Do I think he'd be the Man United manager at the end of the season? I don't think he will. I think they'll win this game, though. I think they'll beat Fulham. They're at St Mary's in 3 weeks' time, dreading that one. Hopefully they just don't turn up that day. But I think they'll win this one. I'm going to go with a 2-0 opening day victory for Ten Hag's Man United.
Yeah, I'm going to back you on that, Martin. I'm going to go 2-0 Man United. I think they'll have enough to see off Fulham in this one. Being at home as well, they'll always want to get off to a good start. And I think they'll do all right with the business that they've brought in Man United. They've got enough attacking threat going forward. And I think they'll have enough to beat Fulham in this one. I'm going to go 2-1. Mark says... Ten Hag to be gone by Christmas. Hope Manchester City beat Chelsea. Yeah, I think Ten Hag, he's got a point to prove this season. And Tim Martin is a Man United manager. Next one, Ipswich versus Liverpool. This is a big game for Ipswich to start off with, isn't it, Martin? But I'm sure the Tractor Boys will be up for this one, being at home. They'll look to cause Liverpool some problems. I don't believe Liverpool's brought anybody in the transfer window so far, Martin. Arne Slot, it's his first season as Liverpool manager. They've done all right in pre-season. They're looking to get different style of football than what Klopp had them playing at times. A different era, different manager, different ideas, and I think this one is going to be a massive game for Ipswich. And can they upset the apple cart? That's what I want to know for you, Martin. What do you reckon result for this one?
I think absolutely they will upset some teams this year. I think Portman Road will be really important to them. Home form will be key for any promoted side. Any side that's scrapping relegation, they will make a noise there at Portman Road. It's an old school ground and it'd be worth points. Do I think they'll beat Liverpool? No, I don't. I think Liverpool have way too much for them. I said to you earlier on in the show, there's massive turnover of players, big changes. It's going to take him a little while to settle. I like the manager. I think he's good. Quite a dry sense of humour, isn't it, as a human? I'm going to put him down to get beaten. I think Carl Foster said in the chat a while ago, 4-1. I'm going to go with him, actually. I'm going to go with a 4-1 defeat to Ipswich in this one.
Yeah, Mark does go on to say, though, first Saturday of the season always throws an unexpected result. I think Ipswich will give Liverpool a game, to be fair. They'll try and make it uncomfortable for Liverpool at Portman Road. The crowd are going to be right behind it. But I just see Liverpool really going to edge this one. I'm going to go 3-1. 3-1 Liverpool. Yes, I'm going to go for that. Let's see what everyone else is saying. What is your both scores for Eastleigh versus Fylde? I think that is.
Don't know. I don't follow Eastleigh enough to know where they're at right now. But
is that conference? I believe you played them in pre-season, Martin.
Yeah, they're down on the south coast. Really, I don't follow them enough to know what the opposition are like or anything like that. Really, to be honest, I don't really study it, unfortunately. So I struggle to give you an honest opinion. But all I can say is I hope Eastleigh get a win as a south coast side.
Yep. Next one, Martin. Arsenal versus Wolves. Wolves have sold Neto, haven't they? Was it Chelsea? Arsenal very good in pre-season under Mikel Arteta. I think they're real title contenders this season for me. I think, like I say, Man City quite close, but I think they'll have enough to see off Wolves in this one, Martin, for me. I'm going to go 4-0 to the Gunners. Yeah,
I think they have way too much for them, to be honest. Arsenal, I think Arsenal are strong. I still think they're going to be there. Could this be their year? I was chatting to some friends about it last week. Can they finally go on and do it? I think Arteta will land them a trophy at some stage. But I'm going to go with an Arsenal win. I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal in this one.
3-0, fantastic.
No upset for me in that one.
Yeah, I don't see it, to be fair. Gary O'Neill's a good manager, though. He's a good manager, but I think Arsenal are really strong, aren't they? Outfit, and they'll want to, put things right this season and going to compete with Manchester City after missing out last season. Kyle's gone 2-1 Arsenal. Next one, Everton, Brighton. Where do you see these two sides, Martin, Everton and Brighton? I think Everton will be down there this season within the relegation battle and that again. Brighton, you never know what you're going to get with Brighton. I think, they did well under De Zerbi. They did well under Graham Potter. Where do you see them with their new manager? Obviously, I think is he the youngest manager in the league? I believe
31, and he's 31. Yeah, he's 31 years old. Fabian Herzler, is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
31 years old. Yeah, it's a big job to take on. It's a massive football club, and they've been brilliant the last few years. They've done very, very well. It'd be interesting to see how they unravel this season. I'm seeing more of a mid-table side this year. Brighton, to be honest, my gut opinion. I'd be interested. Yeah, Everton. Just thinking about Everton, I'm not convinced that they're stay up this year. I think last year at Goodison, they wouldn't want to go down with their last year at Goodison, would they? But they've got financial issues there. There's been a lot of problems. They're obviously building their new ground, getting ready for that. So I guess money's gone into that. But I think both sides could potentially really struggle this year. in my opinion. But I'm going to go with the Brighton winning this. I think Brighton will edge it, even going away from home. So I want to go with I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Brighton and Hove Albion in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna back Brighton to win 2-1 as well.
Mark's correct there. Mark's correct.
Mark's right.
Totally back him. He's speaking a lot of sense, Mark, in the chat.
Yeah, they could really struggle, couldn't they? Them two, obviously. Brentford. It's what happens with Ivan Toney, and obviously, quite a lot of clubs are going to be after him at the right price, of course. Brian Embuemo as well, another one who did really well for Brentford in his time in the Premier League, and they'll be two of their key assets who they'll really hope to keep hold of this transfer window, and if they don't, then they could be in some real trouble. But, you've got to really find that sort of replacement for a player like Ivan Toney. I think he's one of the best Premier League takers in the Premier League, to be fair. He's a good striker and a proven goal scorer. So, I think Brentford will want to keep hold of him. But, Martin, we're going to go to your boys. They're travelling up to Newcastle, up north. I mean, how do you see you guys faring at St. James's Park?
It's probably the worst away day you could possibly have, Jack, to be quite honest with you. I think it's mega, mega tough. I think it's mega tough. Like I said to you earlier, whether we're quite ready for the Premier League with the squad that with the squad that he's still building and putting together. Look, it'd be a great test. The one thing you will get from us is unity, team spirit, and work ethic. They will run for each other, they will work for each other, and it will be worth points. I just think Newcastle will have too much for us. I don't know. I was on a Newcastle podcast a minute ago, and I was like, I don't know how we hurt them. I think we strengthened defensively.
Yeah.
We still need a goalkeeper, which we don't have in the door.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anyone who's going to lead the line. Traditionally, loads of clubs don't play with nines anymore, but I still think we need someone that's going to get goals. I think Newcastle will win it. I predicted 4-1 on the show I was on before I come on here, so I'm going to stick with my earlier prediction as a 4-1 victory to Newcastle. But I think Saints will bounce back. They'll be fine. Forest at home week after. First win of the season will be against Forest at home, but it's really hard to look beyond Newcastle in this. You've got to be realistic. You have to be realistic.
Yeah, tough place to go, Newcastle. They'll hope they can go and compete for the European places again this season. Isaac, I think he'll be one of the top scorers this season in the league again. Very good goal scorer, Isaac. I believe Arsenal looked at him this transfer window. I think they've got a good side. Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes, another good player. Obviously, they don't know what's going to be happening with Almiron. But Newcastle have got a good defence as well, haven't they? And I think what Saints are going to be lacking in this one is that real attacking threat to break this Newcastle side down. And, and I think Southampton will go and look at that over the next 2 weeks with Russell Martin. But this game, regarding that situation, I think it's come too early for Saints. And Newcastle away, they'll be right behind the boys. Newcastle fans at home, and they'll try and make that place a fortress, and a very good set of fans. Newcastle always love to travel to Newcastle, for an away day and that, even though you're up there in the away end in the bloody gods. But I think Newcastle will win this, Martin. I'm going to go 3-1 to the Geordies.
Yeah, you got to be realistic. You just at this moment in time, you have to just be a realist and just like we all want our teams to win, but you just know when it's going to be difficult, and it's a difficult place to go and play football, isn't it? And just have to look ahead and just use it as a bit of free. You just want a performance. You just want a performance. Is what you need. Opening day, as long as you put a performance in, make the club proud, will go a long way for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Next one, Martin. Forest versus AFC Bournemouth. Obviously, no Dominic Solanke. He's been sold to Spurs. It's not one of the strikers you want to lose before the start of the season, to be honest, especially to one of your Premier League rivals. Forest, under Nuno Espirito Santo. It's one of them. I think Forest will be another side who, be battling down the bottom side of the table again this season. they was last year. But yeah, I think Bournemouth, how do they react without Dominic Solanke? Have they got enough firepower this season to get through? Obviously, they are being linked to, I believe, with the Porto striker. I think they're looking to sign him to use from the Dominic Solanke money. But Forest at home, the crowd are going to be up for it. But I think Bournemouth edge it for me, 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit. I think both. I'm not convinced about how Forest are unravelled this season. Bournemouth, obviously, bit of a turbulent time losing Solanke, looking to bring bodies in. I think my gut feeling for this one is a draw. So I'm going to predict my first draw for the weekend, and I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw in this one, Jack.
Fantastic. People are saying Bournemouth have brought well in pre-season. Fantastic. I think Bournemouth are all right this season, to be fair, without Solanke, but they need that real striker to replace him in it, because Solanke did well at Bournemouth in the last few seasons. So, yeah, Bournemouth are a well-established Premier League side now, aren't they? And, I think they'll do all right. Next one, West Ham v Villa. Two sides who are going to be competing well for Europe this season. How does Europe affect Aston Villa, though, Martin?
I think it will do. I think he's a brilliant manager, though. If there's ever a man that could do some magic, it's certainly Emery. Every time I watched them last season, I thought they were a really good watch, Jack. Top club, but it's going to be a big ask, bit of a stretch of them. But you never know. They just might surprise people, Jack. I think early part of the season, you'd hope to think they'd be fine, wouldn't you? Like early on in the season. Do you know what? I'm going to put Villa down to get an opening day victory, Jack. Do you want to go with a 2-0 victory for Villa? What about you?
I think with Villa, this season, they've got to have a big enough squad to compete in both Europe and the Premier League, haven't they? Unai Emery's a fantastic manager. He's done a great job there. I think Ollie Watkins is going to be well and truly in the goals this season again. The England striker. West Ham, though, they've brought quite well, haven't they? Wan-Bissaka, Fulkrug, Crescencio, Somerville. West Ham have meant business in this transfer window, but can they put that business onto the pitch and go and win games with them types of players? That's the question with West Ham. I think they'll be up there, though, this season, competing for Europe, but I think Villa will just edge it for me 1-0.
Yeah, I think it'd be a Villa victory, but I do think West Ham will have a good season. I fancy West Ham to have a decent season.
West Ham 3, Villa 1. 2-1 Villa, 2-1 West Ham, 1-1. Villa will give West Ham a spanking. What else have we got? Martin, JWP back at St Mary's on loan?
No. On loan? I don't think they'll loan him for 1 minute. I don't think West Ham will loan him. I heard that he could be surplus to requirements. I don't know how true that is. Big P will be able to tell us that. Will I take him on loan? He jumped ship pretty quick from St Mary's when the going got tough last season, and we needed bodies. He could have been a hero of the football club. Could have had a wonderful day at Wembley. Brilliant season under a brilliant manager playing brilliant football. But he decided he wanted out. Would I accept him back? Probably. Do I think he would come back? No. But I don't think he'd get the game time at West Ham. But yeah, he would look a bit of a fool to end up walking away from there already.
Yeah, West Ham looking to offload him. I mean, we could do with surplus the requirements of James Ward-Prowse's free kicks at Leicester.
Do you know what? He didn't score one last season. In his whole... No, he didn't score one from last year. He didn't do any. The last free kick he scored was against Chelsea in January the season before last. It's been a while.
Madness. Brentford v Palace, Martin. How do you see this one going then at Brentford?
I think it's really hard to see beyond Palace at the moment. I liked what I saw from him last season. I think Eze's brilliant. What a great player he is. Didn't get the game time at the Euros that I thought he might have done as well. But Palace away. Brentford are hard to break down. I think you just popped up a 1-1 there a minute ago, but I'm going to go with a draw as well. I'm going to go with a 2-2 though. So score draw from football, Martin?
First manager to get sacked.
Who's that?
Who are we going for?
Oh, first manager to get sacked.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ten Hag. I think Ten Hag could be the first one out.
Enzo at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think he'd come pretty close. I've got to be honest. I think he'd be pretty close. I really do.
Yeah, Chelsea are not patient enough for me. They're going about this with the whole plan and that, and they don't give managers enough time.
They've got no plan. They ain't got no plan of it at all.
You know, Arne Slot, someone's gone for. Interesting.
No, I don't think that's the sort of Liverpool thing, to be fair. Jamie Carragher said it last week when we were at the overlap. He said it on screen as well, that he just didn't believe that that's the sort of way that they go about business, Liverpool Football Club. It isn't that they just won't. I think they'll remain patient with him and they give him, I think he'd get time to settle things down. But remember, he's walking into a really good, decent club, good squad of players, great fan base. It's a dream job, isn't it? Really.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Palace. I'm gonna go Ivan Toney to score, Eze to score, and Mateta. I think Mateta's picked up since he scored against Leicester not long ago. One that Brendan Rodgers ended up walking away after defeat to Palace. After Mateta scored with seconds to go, and scored for bloody ages. But it's always Leicester these players score against when they ain't scored for months or years or whatever it is. Next one, Manchester City travel to Stamford Bridge. Pep's apprentice Enzo Maresca takes on Pep Guardiola, and what a game this is between the two masterminds, shall we call it?
Is this televised, this game? Is it a televised game? I'm sure it's got to be, isn't it?
Yeah. Enzo versus Enzo v Pep. It's the first time these two have met each other since Enzo left Manchester City, and these two sides, when they do meet, though, a lot of goals get scored. And I think this will be another high-scoring game between the two sides, where it's how quick Manchester City pick up. They seem to pick up more in the second half of the season, don't they, Man City, and really go on a real flourish. But it's how Chelsea are really going to start. I don't think Chelsea's had a great pre-season, if I'm honest with you. There was reports of Conor Gallagher potentially leaving for Atletico Madrid. Have Chelsea got a squad that's ready to compete against Manchester City, to be fair, in this one? I think there'll be a high goal scoring game. I think Man City beat him in pre-season. Enzo's team. So I'm going to go... I'll tell you what, I'm going to go 4-1 Man City.
I love to see goals, mate. I love to see goals, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see... Do you know, I think in the WhatsApp group that we've got, I think I put it down as a draw. But when you look at it, you think City should have way too much for Chelsea, and Chelsea going through such a transition. I chatted to a Chelsea fan last week, and they were just pretty unsure of what the starting 11 or even look like. Crazy to get rid of Colin Gallagher, by the way, as well. I think he's a brilliant player. I think it's a club in a bit of a mess, but you got to go with a win for City.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm going to change my 4-1 to 3-1. I think that'd be realistic, to be fair, to be honest. But yeah, we'll have to see if Man City can really turn up, though, because that's the question with Man City, you know.
It could be a boring game. It could end up being a boring game. You know, I watched some games last season. I was really excited to watch them, and they were just bored the hell out of me. I still think some of Pep's style, on their day, they can be really good, but on other days, they can be awfully boring to watch.
Yep. Next one is the last one, the Monday Night Football. Leicester City take on Spurs. Harry Winks against his former club. James Maddison returns to the King Power Stadium for the first time since leaving Leicester for Tottenham. This one, when we play Spurs, you never know what to expect in this type of game. Last time these two faced each other, Leicester scored quite a few past Spurs, and Spurs have had an okay pre-season, haven't they? I think they lost 2 in pre-season, but you don't really look at pre-season, do you, Martin, to be honest? It's more about when you get to the league. Have Leicester got a strong enough squad so far? No, I think we need attackers. We're going into this game with just Tom Cannon. is our only striking option. So can Tom Cannon go in and have a worldy game with this one? I think we're going to have to set up well against Spurs. I think Steve Cooper, we've seen glimpses of what Steve Cooper wants to do, and Spurs, Maddison, Heung-min Son, another one who, I think they'll be up for the game. Maddison will obviously want to be centre of entertainment, won't he, against Leicester, and hopefully we can stop that, to be fair, because Maddison's a good player on his day, we know that. What
sort of reception will he get, Jack? What will the reception be like for James Maddison at the KP on Monday night?
I'm not sure. I mean, he didn't really help himself in some of the interviews that he had in the last season before we got relegated. He said he'd help in getting the boys back up, and they don't deserve to be in the Championship on that. In his Instagram post after we got relegated, and then he ended up jumping ship to Spurs, and it's like, yeah, it's one of them. You might see a little mix of reception from some of the supporters, but all round a fantastic player, to be fair, and on his day is an incredible player, James Maddison, without a doubt. The only thing that's done Maddison since going to Tottenham is injuries, but can Leicester go and surprise Tottenham Hotspurs in this one? I think this will be a game full of goals, this one, between the two sides. Martin, I'm going to let you go and let you speak about this one, and then we'll give our predictions.
I'll be honest, like you said, it's where the goals come from Leicester. I think Spurs started last season quite well, didn't they? I think Postecoglou is a good manager. I really like him. I like the style of football he plays. I think Solanke's a massive bit of business for them. I still think Kyle Walker-Peters from our place could potentially end up back playing for Tottenham. I find it hard to see beyond Tottenham, if I'm totally honest with you in this one. I'm going to go with the 3-1. Sorry, mate. Tottenham winning this one.
Nick's got 2-2. Spurs will have too much for the Foxes, but there will be goals, no doubt. I tell you what, when I say there's a lot of goals in it, I'm going to sit on the fence and I'm going to go 2-2. 2-2 draw.
4 goals in, yeah, you take that one, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a point. Especially how we are in the minute. If we can get through the Spurs game and then get some attacking players in for the Fulham game, then we'll be good to go. But, going into the game, where Mavididi could even play up front,
Jack, this transfer window being open still is nonsense, isn't it? It's absolute nonsense. It needs to shut like on Friday night at midnight, end off. It rumbles on, and all it plays into is the big clubs' hands. It doesn't help a Southampton, a Leicester, an Ipswich, the smaller clubs. It works for the clubs that have got money, the powerful clubs. They can come in with stupid bids late on, and they can land players. It's just, the rest of us, we're trying to live within our means and work around FFP, all this stuff, and I think it makes it's not ideal at all.
No, it's kind of not in it. I think you'd wish the transfer window would end before the start of the season, to be fair. That way it gives all these sides the chance to get the players in, every club.
Absolutely.
And to be fair, you want to strengthen your side as much as you can for the season. Obviously, it does. What did it open? July the 1st. So you still got, 6 to 8 weeks to buy players. So that would make teams more proactive, wouldn't it, in that point, if they said, okay, then you've got 2 months to sign players, go. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's an interesting one, to be fair, but I don't think they'll ever consider that type of thing, Martin. But, yeah, it's an interesting fact, to be fair, made there. But no, I'm looking forward to Monday night, to be fair. I'm looking forward to it, back at the KP.
Back under the lights, mate. Can't go wrong.
It's going to be another roller coaster season for us, Martin, supporting Leicester, and obviously it'll be a roller coaster for you supporting Southampton as well. But I'm going to ask you, Martin, talk to me about the away end for everyone who's going to be travelling to Southampton this season away. What's the away end like?
Not as good as it was for an away fan. Definitely not as good as it was. So very similar to what you got at the KP. They're going to move the fans to the other end of the stadium. So they're going to go to the south end of the stadium.
Yeah.
And if you were where you were before, it's in the bottom right now. So what was the family enclosure, which was at the back of the chapel, Kingsland corner. So the coaches are coming into the industrial park around the back, and they will do the drop offs at the other end. So it'd be the south stand instead of the north stand. The north stand's become an all standing now section. They've called it the Northern Wall. It's sold out. Season ticket holders pretty much only, and they basically want to create an incredible noise from behind that goal and try and hopefully mute the away fans, because they seem to usually have that opportunity behind that goal to really cheer their team on. But yeah, it's out of the sun. You don't get no sun in there. It's dark. It's a bit more gloomy. It's a bit damp. So yeah, hopefully it'll make it a little bit more of an intimidating place to come and play football, Jack.
Yeah, Martin, before I let you go, mate, let everybody know what you do regarding football, Martin.
Yeah, at Football Martin, I'm on YouTube and I'm also on TikTok. I'm obviously a massive Southampton fan. Create content though right across the Premier League this season. I'll be round the grounds chatting to fans from your football club. So if you're coming to St Mary's, drop me a DM, and if you know that I'm coming to your club, drop me a DM and we'll get you on the channel. I like to talk to the fan base and get to the heart of each club's fan base and bring it to TikTok and YouTube and create some incredible content for you to tune in and enjoy watching.
Yeah, Martin, thanks for
Thank
coming
you,
on, mate, and joining me, and I'll catch you again soon.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, Martin. That was Football Martin, great guy. Go and check out his YouTube channel at Football Martin. I believe he's just reached over 1,300 odd subscribers. So if you can go and click subscribe for Martin, that would help massively. Guys, if you've enjoyed this stream, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed to the Final Whistle, it's first time watching, get down and do so. We're going to do the Premier League predictions on a weekly basis, so join us for that. Really appreciate everyone's time tonight and coming in and giving us all your predictions. Charlie thinks 3-2 Leicester, fantastic. Callum says 1-0. I'd take a result if it's not a defeat. So yeah, a win or a draw for me, I'd be quite happy with on Monday night, but we'll see. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Keep it the Final Whistle, and have a great rest of your evening. Come on, the Leicester. Hi all. Thank you for watching the Final Whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share, and subscribe to the channel.